What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. What I got for you today is a list of 5 knives that offer phenomenal value at a fantastic price. I will admit the majority of these are under $50 knives, but there are 2 that are right at that $100 mark that I think are really good value for the money. So without any delay, let me go ahead and jump into the list. The first knife on the list is going to be the Free Tiger. I can't remember the name of this model. There you go, FT2103. Thank goodness the branding saved me today. But this is a very interesting knife because it is an axis lock on ceramic bearings. The bearings are inside of a plastic washer, but so far it has held up pretty well. Now, this does have really well done G10. It does kind of remind me of like if the Banter and the Bug Out got together and had a little bit of a baby. This reminds me of the ergos of that. Very nice, very neutral. G10 scales on top of steel liners, which is really nice. Pocket clip works pretty well. It's not completely deep carry, but it does function very well. Springy enough to go in and out of the pocket well. This does have D2 steel, so keep in mind it is not completely corrosive resistant, so it could stain a little bit on you, could get a little bit of discoloration from any type of acidic juices or anything like that. Amazingly, this Free Tiger, it came with a really nice factory edge on it. Really good sharpening choil, which is something that I really can appreciate. Thumb studs on this one work really well. And as I mentioned, really smooth action. The thumb studs are not my favorite. Not the thumb studs. The crossbar lock studs, not my favorite. They are a little bit hard. They're kind of like a bullnose almost. But they do work really well because you get really good access to it. And again, the action on it's really smooth. Good weight to it. It does have solid steel liners on it. No weight relieving there, but it's such a good size, that I don't think that matters because it's still pretty lightweight. And like I said, very comfortable. So if you're on a budget, you have less than $50 to spend, D2 with a really good edge from Free Tiger, not super corrosive resistant and a little hard to maintain the edge. Well, not necessarily maintain. You can strop it to kind of keep it around, but if you have to sharpen it, you're going to need a little bit of patience and to know what you're doing and to take your time with it. Crossbar lock has a solid lockup, 100% lockup of the tang of the blade, so that is going to lock it up nice and solid. Just be careful with the Mega Springs. You can get replacement springs on Amazon and Etsy if they fail on you, but so far this one has held up really, really well. So no complaints there. That is the first knife, and this one here coming in at under $30. I think it was $28 the last time I checked. I will have that linked for you down in the description. Next up at just over $30 is going to be the Reich, and this one is the P801. So branding helping me here because I don't remember the names of these. I apologize. Sometimes they do slip the memory. This is a steel frame lock, and you'll see that Civivi has 14C28N and steel frame locks coming out now at over $100, which is ridiculous. If they wanted to make them titanium and charge $110, $120, and they're still more affordable than a Wii, I could understand that. But for steel, 14C28N, very slicey geometry, really good thumb studs, good access to the lock bar, nice, raw finish, tumbled, stoned, whatever you want to call it. And it has a steel pocket clip that also matches the thumb studs. This is not a bad deal. At $32, actually, this is a phenomenal deal. 14C28N is a fantastic steel, and it takes a really good edge. It seems like this one has a pretty good treat on it. The factory edge is just kind of a standard edge. It's nothing that is going to blow you away, but it's got a nice blade stock, good geometry on it. It's not the sliciest I've ever felt. It's not bug out slicey, but it certainly is comparable to, I would say, a Civivi. Civivis are very thin. I think this will get you right there. And again, at $32 for 14C28N, you see it right there. Good blade steel, not awful branding at all. And again, ceramic bearings in the pivot, really, really good. This one also has the plastic washers with the ceramic bearings, but that works just fine. Really not an issue at all. Really good EDC if you want 14C28 in, but you're on a tight budget, or maybe you want to gift it to a non-knife person. This would be a good way to get them a quality steel that they can learn to sharpen on themselves, and that it's going to function very well. And my thumb was on the lock bar. It's going to be, you know, a good knife. It's going to feel nice and solid, very slicey. This is definitely something that could potentially help someone get into the industry. And same with that Free Tiger. Another option that I wanted to include in here that I really like, this knife is under $48. I think it's $46. Really good price on this one. This is the Simcut San Angelo. This one here has 9CR18 MOV steel on it. Really good kitchen grade steel that is stainless. It takes a good edge. It came with a great factory edge. It has a good geometry on it, so it is nice and slicey. Liner lock, G10 overlays that are very grippy. This has a very unique style to it that allows you to do a lot of work that you wouldn't necessarily think that you could do while still being very comfortable in hand. I've featured this on a couple of videos, and that's because it has really impressed me. I know some people might not think it's the best looking knife, but I don't think it's particularly ugly. I will say that I think the green micarta with the satin blade's a little bit better looking, but it has very nice hardware on it. It has a reversible deep carry pocket clip. Does function very well, even though it's not my favorite, because it does create a little bit of a hot spot because of the fact that they want to narrow down and have that be as pointy as possible. I think if they just left it a little bit thicker, actually, if they made it just a little bit thicker and had it flat all the way through and just come up just like this, it wouldn't feel nearly as pokey because it's going to take the contact surface and divide it up. I've said that many times on reviews of Civivi pocket clips, so I'm not going to linger too much more on that. Great tip. And because it does have almost like a spear point shape, if you have like utility cuts, draw cuts, you're trying to get to things on a table, you're not going to be like all out of position. You're going to be able to get it relatively close without having to get up super duper high. Just a slight bend of the wrist and you're in there. If you often cut rope or you're pulling cuts, straps, things like that, this is going to be really great for that because it feels super comfortable. It wants to hug the inside of the palm, so really great for that. And it is still going to be comfortable for push cuts. It is going to push the pinky out, and your pinky is going to completely have contact with the knife all along the jimping along here and the groove marks. So it's going to work really well. And, you know, material wise, you're still getting ceramic bearings in the pivot. With the Simcut though, you're getting the cage and phosphor bronze with the ceramic bearings inside. And again, really smooth action. I did tune the detent up because, as you can see, you still can fail it, but where I tuned it up a little bit, it did really improve it. So if you're just giving a light switch, it is going to fly open and it's going to want to go home. Really nice detent. Solid enough. I wouldn't say it's the best out there, but for less than $50, great option. Let's say you wanted something with a little bit more dressing on it, a little bit fancy, something more revolutionary on it. That is going to lend me to another Simcut, and that's going to be the Sexy. The Sexy is one of the newer budget button locks on the market. The lock here is a plunge lock. This locks up with about 30% of the tang of the blade, very similar to how a liner lock does. This one here also has 9CR18 MOV blade steel, which is a kitchen grade steel, very stainless, very easy to sharpen, or if you have a leather strop, it's going to be very easy to maintain and keep that edge going as long as possible. Good thin geometry, so it's going to slice really well. The micarta on it is a little bit of a more premium type of scale. It's going to feel like a denim jean. It's going to have a nice soft texture to it. The nice thing about micarta is the more you handle it and use it, the more it's going to give a natural patina over time look, which is usually what most people like about the micarta. Is you do get a little patina. It has that kind of worn look to it, which is really nice. Again, Simcut pocket clip, it functions very well. It's not the best in the business, but it is reversible, and the plunge lock or the button lock is really ambidextrous. So if your man is left-handed or your woman is left-handed, he or she will be able to operate it very easily. It has a very natural, intuitive low profile flipper tab, but it also has thumb studs. So they have multiple means of deployment for this knife. If they like a thumb stud, this is going to work well, and the flipper tab's not going to protrude too much to where they're not going to like that. But if they like to use a flipper tab, this is going to work really well. This is going to be, you know, something that if you're on a budget is going to be a very solid knife. Ceramic bearings again in the pivot on a phosphor bronze cage, which is going to prevent any type of rust or corrosion down in the pivot, and really good action. Very, very nice to use. I actually think it works better with the thumb studs than it does with the flipper tab. But the flipper tab does work really well. But just a great knife. Milled liners on the inside. I forgot to mention that on the San Angelo, milled liners on the inside. What that means is it's going to be lightweight. It's going to carry very light in pocket, and it's not going to get in the way too much. Tuck away nice in the pocket so it's not in the way. And again, really good materials, under $50. What a phenomenal value. Great blade shape for push cuts, pull cuts, draw cuts, whatever it is that you're having to use your knife for. This cutting tool is going to get all that done in comfort and with a little bit of style. This knife also comes with the G10 liner, so if you are working in something industrial and you don't want to worry about staining up the micarta, the G10 is not going to have that issue. So you can get either one of these in micarta or G10. So great, awesome value. Now, those are all under $50. The next two are going to be right at around $100, which I think is also really good value. This is going to be the Tucson TS270. This has 14C28N, but it is a much bigger knife than some of the other ones that you have seen here. So you can see this is, if you have a larger hand or you like a larger knife, this is definitely going to scratch that itch. It has a very well done 14C28N blades edge. It has good geometry, nice thin slicey edge. It is a satin stonewash finish, so it's going to go through the material with minimal drag. Nice thumb hole, so you're going to be able to deploy this really easy, very nicely, get the finger in there, very intuitive to launch. Ceramic bearings on a plastic washer, so you got nice smooth action, very easy to maintain this knife. The difference here and the price bump here, not just because you have more 14C28N, but you now have a titanium frame lock. A little bit more premium of a material in the handle. You have micro milling going on around the actual handles themselves. You have that relief cut. You have milled liner or milling going on inside of the titanium handles. You have a steel liner lock, so that prevents from lock stick from happening, and that steel is going to hold up longer over time. Nice titanium pocket clip. This does come in a more faded stonewash finish. I did polish this up and anodize it myself, which is something else that you can do with this knife to customize it a little bit more. So really quite a nice knife for $110. If you go to whitemountainknives.com, if they're sold out, you can sign up for notifications. They come in stock pretty regularly. There are Tucson dealers, so you're going to be seeing them come in and out of stock a lot. My discount code will save you 10% on this knife, so you'll save a little bit of money on this one. That'll be linked down below. Fantastic value for $110. Nice titanium frame lock with 14C28N. Last but not least is going to be the Kaiser Drop Bear. Kaiser's first attempt at a crossbar lock. If you don't know what that is, it basically locks up 100% of the back of the blade, making it super strong. Lots of strength here in this lock system. They do have these little wire omega rings. They look like the Omega emblem, and they're on both sides. And on this particular one, it is adjustable. I don't know if you'll be able to see too well. Let me try a little flashlight here to see the holes. I don't know if you can see them from this side, maybe right there. I'll try to zoom in. You can see 5-hole adjustments. What that allows is for customized tension on the crossbar lock. If you like it a little bit heavier, a little bit firmer, you can put it on the closer setting, and that'll make it strong and have a nice solid detent to it. If you like it a little bit looser, or you have some weakness in the hands, you can adjust it, which I think is very smart. Great, almost spear point shaped blade. Good edge. This one is finished in 14C. This one's finished in 154 cm, which is a great blade steel. Sorry, I was showing you the logo before I realized I had the wrong side for the blade steel. 154 cm, very well rounded. It's going to hold an edge a while. really easy to sharpen. You can maintain it with a strop to keep the edge for a long time. So after you use it, you just strop it up a little bit. It's going to be really nice. It has a decent geometry to it, so it's going to slice really well. It's a little bit smaller than some of the other ones, so it's going to take up minimal space in pocket, but it's still, even with a large hand, allows me to just get 4 fingers on it. I may be hanging off the back a little bit chunkier too, because this is aluminum scales on a skeletonized steel liner, so a little bit more chunky. So if you don't like the thin knife, you like something that's going to fill your hand a little bit more, this is going to be good for that. But because it is smaller, it still does keep the weight down, so it's not going to sag or drag your pants down by being in the pocket. It does have a place for a lanyard on here as well. I forgot to mention both this, actually no, just the Sexy has the lanyard barrel on the back. Looking at the San Angelo, it does not have a space for it. And the first 2 knives, the Reich and the Free Tiger, they had the lanyard hole just like what you see here on the Kaiser. You got ceramic bearings in the pivot. On this particular Kaiser, I do believe they're in a phosphor bronze cage. Let me see if I can see that here. Can't remember. That's what happens when you review so many knives. Sometimes it's hard to remember. There we go. Dim it down a little bit. Try to see if I can see down in there myself. Really hard to see. It's so tight in there. The way that they kind of sink them down into the steel of the blade. So I think, if I remember right, that this one does have the phosphor bronze cage on the ceramic bearings. Really good knife. This one, again, around $110. If you go over to White Mountain Knives, I can give you my discount code. They may or may not be in stock. I will link everything to Amazon as well, just in case. But again, 5 knives that are at a fantastic value. Highly recommendable. Highly recommend checking them out depending on your budget. I wanted to do a little bit more of a budget-friendly video because lately things have been very, very competitive. An honorable mention, now that I'm thinking about it, and it's not here on me, it's in one of my bags upstairs, is going to be the QSP Penguin, which also comes with comes with D2 steel, and you can get it with micarta, carbon fiber overlay, just any type of finish that you like for the handle material. And that one's also going to be just under $50 for that as well, which is a really good value. So honorable mention for the Penguin. I will try to do my best to remember to throw a picture of that at the very least up on the screen. But here are my 5. I gave you 4 under 50, 2 under or at 30, and then 2 that are kind of right around $100, a little bit different, a little bit more premium of a pocket knife. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you follow along. And if you are subscribed or subscribing, make sure that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss alerts for future videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for tuning in with me today, and I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.